Hey y'all, hey! Okay, so here are a few tips to help you get started with the trademarking process as you're working to gain exposure for your brand or company and build some virtual rapport with your target audience. Now let me start by clarifying that I am not a trademarking lawyer, so I am not giving legal advice in this video. But what I am giving is an overview of the trademarking process for trademarking your brand or company's name. So pay attention to that because I'm not going to be talking about trademarking logos in this video. And it is worth mentioning here that you can do business or sell your products or services without trademarking your brand or company's name. But it's also worth mentioning that someone could legally use your brand or company's name if it's not trademarked and ultimately piggyback off of all the hard work that you've done to build your brand or company. Now there are 5 types of trademarks, and as I list them, I'm going to give you an example and give a brief description, but there's going to be a detailed definition listed on the screen. So the first type of trademark is an arbitrary trademark, and the best example of that type of trademark is Apple, the company, not the fruit. And this is a good example because while it's called Apple iPhones, Apple MacBooks, etc., the brand name Apple is not actually describing the apple fruit. Next up is a fanciful trademark. And this is actually the strongest trademark protection there is because most likely the word did not exist before the company created it to name their brand or company. And a few examples of this type of trademark are Lexus, Kodak, or Verizon. Now next up is a suggestive trademark. And a really good example of this type of trademark is Netflix, because the beginning part of the word net explains where you will be watching the second part of the word, flicks or movies. So a descriptive trademark like Coca-Cola gives you a good indicator of what you will be consuming since it's made with ingredients from coca leaves. And this last trademark category, a generic trademark, isn't so much a trademark category, but it's more so something that you want to be careful about. Because if you own a barbershop and you name the barbershop, you won't actually be able to trademark that name because barbershop is also a generic term. So the point of this warning is that your brand or company name, when trademarking it, cannot be the same name that will be used to describe the product or service that you're selling. So you also couldn't trademark a shoe brand that's called shoes, or a computer brand that's called computers, or a car brand that's called cars, etc. Now let's talk about the trademark process. And I'm going to explain the trademark process first, and then I'm going to tell you the 2 ways that you can actually complete the trademark process. So the first thing in the trademark process is searching the USPTO website. And the full name and the website address are both listed on the screen. But the first thing you need to do is search that site and make sure that a trademark isn't already registered for the name that you're wanting to trademark. Then a trademark application needs to be submitted, and here are the things that you need to consider when submitting this application. So do you plan to use the name that you're wanting to trademark in the future, which would be an intent to use application? Or are you currently using the name that you want to trademark, which would be a use in commerce application? And it's important to note that you will have to supply proof of how you are using the name if you do complete a use in commerce application. You also have to register a trademark for different classes, which is basically the category describing how the trademark is going to be used, like selling t-shirts or coffee mugs, for example. And multiple filing classes can be listed on the same application, and you will have to pay a $250 to $350 filing fee per class that you file for on the application. And the fee you pay depends on how much information you can provide on how your trademark will be used. So you'll pay the $250 filing fee if you can provide more information for your trademark, such as knowing that you're going to use it to sell t-shirts. And this is also the quicker way to get your trademark application approved. And you'll pay the $350 filing fee if you don't have all the information needed. And this is also the option that will take longer to get the trademark application approved. Either way, the fees are non-refundable. So the filing classes are pre-approved descriptions for goods or services. So as I said earlier, if your company is going to offer t-shirts and coffee mugs, those are going to be two separate filing classes, and they both would need to be put on the application, and then you would pay the $500 fee. So that's $250 per filing class, and you would most likely pay the $250 filing class fee because you know how you're going to use the trademark. Now, it's important to note that your trademark registration only applies to the filing class that you put on the application. So if you put on the application that you will be selling t-shirts, and let's say your company's name is Lite-Brite. Lite-Brite's trademark registration only legally applies to the t-shirt filing class. So be mindful of that when you complete your application, which is why you should put as much information on there as possible as far as how you will be using your trademark. Now, once your application is completed, it will be reviewed by the examining attorney. And while it's being reviewed, it will be compared to existing trademarks to make sure there isn't a conflict. And once the examiner approves your application, it will go for a 30-day publication, which basically means they're announcing your request to trademark Lite-Brite. And they're announcing it to try to see if anybody will oppose your application. So they're trying to see if anybody is going to say they already are using Lite-Brite for the same filing class. And they're going to let you know which publication they're going to announce it in. And if nobody opposes it during that time, your trademark application will be cleared for final registration. Now, the entire process generally takes about 8 to 10 months. However, once the application is approved and registered, the protection is backdated to the date that the application was filed with the USPTO. Now, here are the ways that you can complete the process. So you could do the search and file the application yourself. And I know from personal experience that this is doable because they have a lot of information and even videos on their website to help you understand the process. And filing the application yourself is the cheaper option because then you only have to pay the filing fees per filing class. The other option is to have a trademark lawyer complete the process for you. And with that option, you will have to pay the filing fee per filing class in addition to whatever their lawyer fees are for their time, etc. So you will definitely want to do your research to see which option works best for your needs. So those are my tips for y'all this week. Make sure you like, follow, or subscribe for more. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.